Right. We are live and rocking and rolling.
All right. How's everyone doing out there? We are live. Let's give a few moments here for some folks to start climbing on here.
Absolutely. We are
Adding
playing
in.
our daughter's song, Dark Magic by Sammy Gardner.
Yes,
Check it out on Spotify.
that is our bumper song.
Promoting.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome, everyone. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza, and we are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. We come to you every Wednesday night, almost every Wednesday night, from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock. We like to give you immigration updates, and we like to answer your questions. So if you have a question, get it posted, and we will try to get to it tonight. We're here on Facebook Live. We are also on TikTok. So hello to all the folks joining us on Facebook, and hello to all you folks joining us on TikTok. One thing I do want to warn you about, that what we do here is for informational and educational purposes only.
Absolutely.
It is not legal advice.
And
okay.
John, why is it not legal advice?
Well, it's not
I
legal.
mean, we're lawyers, so why shouldn't this be legal advice?
Yeah, well, one thing is that we're giving information to folks who are not our clients. So we are not giving legal advice for that reason. And we also don't want you to construe it as legal advice, because the reality is when you all post your questions here, we're dealing with a very limited amount of information in your question. And so we don't want anyone relying on our answer and then taking action on it based on the belief that it's legal advice. Because if you become a client of ours, we are going to do a much, much, much deeper dive into the facts of your case and put together a comprehensive strategy forward. So we're going to know everything before we take even the first step. We can't do that with just a snippet of a question here. That's why. Okay.
What a great answer.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
That's just, this is the advantage of having your law partner be your wife, is that she says things like, that's a great answer.
That is a great answer. Yes.
Even if it's an average answer, but
I thought it was above average. Anyway.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we have questions about why it's not legal advice. If you want to get that question answered even more, get it posted.
but get your immigration questions posted, and we will answer them. So we've got some people joining on TikTok, and we've got people joining here on Facebook and YouTube. So get your questions posted, and we will get right to them. We do, while you guys are posting your questions, we do have a couple of immigration updates. Do you want to give the first one?
Well, one thing I wanted to update everyone, you probably all know this if you're joining an immigration live stream like this, you probably are aware of this. If you're not aware of it, make sure that you do know that all immigration filings are requiring now electronic payment, no more paper checks. If you send a check to USCIS, your case is coming back. All right. It's not going to be processed. So there are two forms that you can use. Now, one is the G1450, one is the G1650. The 1450 is if you want to use a credit card, and the 1650 is if you want to do an ACH transfer from a bank account. Be careful. It cannot be an international bank account. It has to be a U.S. bank account. Other people can pay it for you, though. It doesn't have to be your bank account or a credit card, but obviously you do need authorization from that person to do it. Okay. Also, you're going to want to use one payment form per application. So everything that you're filing, don't try to clump all the fees onto one G1650 or 1450. You're going to want to use separate forms for each one. Okay. And this will make a little more sense when you actually look at the form. You'll see what's involved. So if you have any questions about that, yeah, we're an immigration law firm. We have already made the switch. It was required as of filings arriving October 28th. We have filed things since October 28th and have had our G1450s and 1650s. We're using 1650 specifically, have gone through, no problems. So yeah, I can attest that the system does work if you do it right. And of course we do it right.
Absolutely. Do we have any questions? You know what I think would be kind of fun today? And for those of you on Facebook and YouTube, we are we're looking over here today. We're looking here, but we're here.
Right.
So we just have another camera over there. Just
Yeah.
so you know.
I'm primarily addressing TikTok because that's where most of the questions come in. And, you know, I'm trying to monitor these questions. Radlin typically is the one answering them. And so I'm going to be looking at TikTok, but hey, Facebook, we love you guys. I mean, you know, you were our first love.
OG.
The original. That's right. Okay.
Someone had a long-winded
I have not seen any.
Someone had a long-winded. Can waiver be okay? Wait. My question.
Let's go to the beginning here and get our. Okay, we'll get the very first question. Who is it? A lot of people joining here.
Okay, let's just give him a sec.
All right. Carmi Love says, my question is a little long-winded. If I message you, can you answer my question? That was their question.
Oh, okay. So you should come on our Facebook at Gardner Mendoza Law on our Facebook if you can, and you will be able to post a longer question there. And you know what? I was just about to say we could try something fun today, and the person who has a long question, we could invite you as a guest. I don't know how to do that. I know that periodically pops up, right?
Yeah.
Someone wants to join as a guest, and who was that?
You mean who asked the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Carmi Love.
Okay, so Carmi Love, if you know how to do it, and just ask us to put you on, and we'll talk to you
if you want.
If you want, no pressure.
No pressure at all.
No
Carmi
pressure.
Love. If you'd rather just send us a private message, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to come on if you don't want to, but we thought we'd try something new. Jasmine joined. She says, hi guys, it's been a while. Good to see you, Jasmine.
Yes, we're happy that you're here. Okay, so here we have a comment. Rolian Ramos says, hey, it's Rolian. I don't know if you guys remember me. I had my interview last week and it all went great. I just need to update my medical and submit a valid one. Yay, congratulations. That's amazing. We love to hear that. And I'm glad that it went well for you.
Yeah,
Rolian.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for popping on here and letting us know. And for those of you out there, please share our live if you think it will help someone else, someone that you care about, a friend, a family, and we'll be happy to answer the questions.
Yeah, you know, one of the reasons that I wanted to mention about the G1650s, you know, working and getting approved is that it's also a reminder that cases are getting approved. We're filing cases every week. We're getting approvals every week. So I know that there's been a lot of concern with immigration, and, you know, understandably so, but it's a good reminder that they are open, things are processing. And so this is not a time to be afraid to move forward with your case. It's a time to just be knowledgeable about the best way to file your case. And you can find out a little bit from the internet, but you can find out a lot more from hiring a professional attorney, whether it's us or anyone else. But obviously we would prefer that it would be us. Okay, here's the question here. Can a waiver be revoked after being approved?
Not really. I mean, I think that the question probably is, you know, they needed a waiver in order to get their permanent resident card. Perhaps maybe it's a different kind of waiver, like a provisional waiver. I think that possibly can get revoked if there was any type of fraud in preparing the waiver. But generally speaking, no, I haven't heard of a waiver, any of our waivers getting revoked. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but I think it has to be there has to be a very, very specific reason as to why, and it's typically going to deal with fraud. So,
all right. Oh, and congratulations, by the way, to Ocean Lakes High School.
Oh yeah, so we're a little hoarse because we've been yelling and screaming at our niece's volleyball game today, and her team won.
Yes,
beat Cox.
Congrats to her. We were there. We were part of the magic. We're thirsty now. It was a
We
lot.
are drinking seltzer water to try to ease our.
It's a lot of screaming and a lot of popcorn, and that's, you know,
There was a hot dog, Cheetos, Doritos, and
peanut
M&Ms, and popcorn.
Yeah.
It was
pretty
ugly.
ugly.
Yeah.
But the win was not ugly.
And Carmela, our niece, said she saw us eating like throughout the whole time. And
All
sharing.
right. User 395 wanted to know here. I got a green card through marriage and misrepresentation waiver. Can it be revoked at my citizenship interview?
You should be good. You should be good. The waiver, was it a misrepresentation waiver? Uh-oh, and we just went dark here on Facebook for a second.
All right. Joining us. So
we can invite.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. We've got some.
It would be fun.
Yeah, we've been.
Unless it's a question that we can't answer. But that's also helpful.
Yeah,
invite. There's a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks that we have.
Can we click on Carby's name? So we're just, we're doing our thing here. We're figuring it out.
I don't see.
I can't. Let's see. Oh wait, hold on a second. Comes in report, reply, translate, mark viewer, mute account, log account. Nope. Okay.
No, all those options.
Not sure.
Yeah, we don't want to report you or anything. That's a mistake.
Report or block that would be very bad.
All right, we'll just have to move on to some more questions and see.
Okay, for the user who's asking about the waiver. So what the user is talking about. So sometimes when people who apply for their lawful permanent residence card, they may have something that they need a waiver for. In this case, it's misrepresentation. So there was a misrepresentation made at some point in time. Maybe it was when this user came into the United States and they lied about the reason why they were coming into the United States. And so they needed a waiver for misrepresentation. And once that waiver is granted, then it's there. And then the officer, because the waiver was granted, will approve lawful permanent resident status, and that person will get their green card to show their lawful permanent resident status. And then now this user is asking, hey, you know what? I'm getting ready to do my US citizenship. Are they going to revoke my waiver now? So the answer is no. That's not what happens in cases like this, because the waiver has already been adjudicated. It's already been decided upon. And because the waiver was approved, this person got the green card fair and square, right? And they will be able to apply for US citizenship. And the waiver is something in their history. Of course, if you're asked about it, it's there and you tell the truth about it. But there's no reason why that should get revoked unless there was some sort of misrepresentation. So Lola here is asking the question, do you prepare habeas corpus just in case to have it ready? So we do not do habeas corpus cases, but if you reach out to our office, we can certainly refer you to some immigration attorneys and trial attorneys who do prepare those types of applications.
Yeah, we don't specifically work on that. We do some similar documents. We do powers of attorney, and there also are some contingent temporary child custody documents that we can prepare. We have folks that come to us who are concerned that in the event that something were to happen to them, they get picked up and, maybe it's in the middle of the day, their kids are at school and nobody knows what happened. This would obviously be very comforting for them to know at least that they have documentation in place, that everybody knows who's going to have temporary custody of the children, and that person is going to have access to, the bank accounts and their school, and they're going to be able to pick them up from school and take them to school and talk to their teachers, and they're going to know who their doctors are, fill the prescriptions if they have medication, all of that kind of thing, all of that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that type of help, then please reach out to us, and we can certainly help you with that. And of course, existing clients, sometimes we have back pocket letters for them. That's a different situation.
Yeah, and so habeas corpus, I have heard that, I think Sarah was telling us that she was on an immigration, education call, like a continuing legal education, and Sarah is our managing attorney, and she said that one of the attorneys said that it took them 100 hours to do a habeas corpus petition for their client. So I don't know if having one just in case is, you would have to speak with that attorney who regularly prepares habeas corpus. I think it would be, in the back of my mind, yes, that would be a great idea to have that, but I think it's very fact specific. And so maybe the person who spent 100 hours on the habeas corpus, maybe they spend 50 hours on the next one. I don't know. I don't know what the type of work that goes into it. And so, it's possible that habeas corpus attorneys who prepare those would do one ahead of time. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So at DK, he says, they say, is the new 1K fee for some advanced parole like DACA one-time fee, or are you required to pay it each time you travel? That's a really good question. I just thinking about it, because we haven't been presented with this scenario yet, but I would think that it would be on that particular advanced parole with a multiple entry advanced parole, it would be a one-time payment. But I don't know that for sure, RK. Don't take my word for it. I just, the mechanics of it and thinking about advanced parole, I think it would be crazy if it were you'd have to pay it each time for a multiple entry, but hopefully not. But that's why this is not legal advice, because I don't have to take a look at that a little bit more deeply. Okay. Thank you for the gifter badge, Sandra.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And
Thank
Sandra
you.
has a question. How long does it take after immigration receives? Can you read that?
How long does it take after immigration receives a 601 waiver?
601 waiver.
601s. We would have to take a look at processing times. If we're talking about a 601A, I don't think we're talking about a 601A, because you would have said 601A, right? But I know I just looked up 601As. Those are taking like 3 years. 3 years after receiving a 601, but I think that 601s are taking a long time too. But I'm gonna just look really quickly while you grab that next question, just for fun. So what I'm doing right now, guys, is I am looking at processing times, and I'm doing it on my computer. You can also do it on your phone. So what you do is you Google USCIS processing times, and USCIS.gov will pop up and it'll say processing time, case status online. So you click on that. It's going to verify that you're a human being. I'm going to put in form 601, I-601. So I'm going to scroll down in the drop down menu here and go ahead and click that. The form category, waiver of grounds of inadmissibility, and the field officer service center. I'm going to do the service center. And the processing times for that is 36 months, which is very similar to the 601A. So those are the posted processing times. It says here 80% of cases are completed within 36.5 months. And I personally don't know if that's on track, if that's tracking, or if it's faster or if it's slower. I know that 601As are taking a long time and it is on track for what's posted, but a lot of times the processing times on the USCIS's website are not completely accurate. And that's why they write 80% of the cases are completed within. And so you're like, well, Radlin, why then did you go through that whole thing? Why are you teaching us how to check USCIS processing times? Because it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what USCIS is projecting that this case, how long your case will take when you use their processing times. And also you need to know that when you file your 601A waiver or your 601 waiver, and you're just like, wow, it's been 2 years. I'm going to call USCIS and find out what's going on and make an expedited request and contact my congressperson and do all this stuff. Well, if your case is still within posted processing times, you can't make an inquiry about it because it's still within processing times. So could be a tactic, just don't for you to not be able to make processing time inquiries, but it's good to know how to check USCIS processing times. All right.
I hope that helps. The next question we had here, are first-time APs being approved, and is it safe to proceed with DACA?
I would have to check with our team about whether we are filing advanced paroles for DACA. I haven't heard that they're not being approved, but I'm actually not sure. I don't know. And the second question, I will address the second question. Is it safe to travel with DACA? So a DACA advanced parole. I mean, I think that when you ask the question about whether you should travel with your DACA, whether you're a lawful permanent resident, you should take into consideration other things as well, right? You should think about your immigration history, make sure there's no fraud there, that you don't have any crimes. I mean, you're a DACA applicant. You can get DACA even with, very minor things. You can still get DACA, right? And you have to ask your question, and certainly if you're represented, to ask your attorney to spend a moment and go through your immigration history as well as your history in the United States, if there's anything that's a criminal record history, and ask, is it safe for me to travel on my advanced parole? And you really, really have to take that very seriously now, because it's pretty easy to, when you're coming in through the port of entry and you're inadmissible, it's pretty easy for them to detain you at that point in time, right? So be careful. And John and I don't like to answer travel questions. People say, hey, I'm a permanent resident and I have zero criminal record history. Is it safe for me to travel? Or here we are, I have DACA. Is it safe for me to travel? We can't answer that question. We have to do a deep dive, especially now. Did I say especially now? Especially now. We have to do a deep dive because there is extra scrutiny.
A lot extra scrutiny.
And, as John mentioned it on a few lives, maybe a month or two ago or 3 months ago, it's like you're in your neighborhood, right? And the speed limit is 25. And you go 45 miles per hour because everybody goes 45 miles per hour. And now they have a police officer out there, and anyone who's going over the speed limit is getting a ticket. Now, I know that's a very simplistic way, but of illustrating what's happening, but that is what's happening. So people who, and then I'm not talking about ICE arrests on the street. I'm talking about when you're coming into the United States and you are a lawful permanent resident, or you have DACA, and you are a lawful permanent resident who has actually traveled outside of the United States before and come back in fine, safely. But if you have a criminal record history, even if it's from a long time ago, and that criminal record history, that conviction makes you inadmissible, even though they didn't care about it the last time, doesn't mean they're not going to care about it now. So you have to be extra vigilant and spend the extra time and money, if that's what it takes, to take take all these factors into consideration. I mean, we're at the office, we're doing a lot of FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests, because we want to make sure that our clients don't have a final order of removal that they're not aware of. And so we're not going to just do a FOIA for immigration court unless our client says, oh yeah, there was something about court. This is how it usually comes up. There's something about court that happened, and I'm not really sure what happened. I was a minor when it happened, but my parents both, maybe my parents both got ordered removed. Most likely that person also has a final order of removal. So we have to do a FOIA, and we have to dig in, and we have to make sure that we are not going to put our clients in more harm than when they first came and spoke to us. So it's a really good question, and don't go on every immigration lawyer's lives and ask this question and get a variety of answers. We don't know what the answer is because we don't know what your case is about and what your history is. So really long answer to that question, but I think it's just super important to make sure that everybody knows that we're great. different rules of the game.
That's great information and education.
Thank you.
Not legal advice.
And we're drinking sparkling water here.
The travel questions are tough, as Radlin said. I mean, there's a lot of, sometimes it comes down to how much of a gambler you are, how risk averse you are. If you don't like to take any chances, then no, I wouldn't travel. That's typically going to be the answer. But the other concern we have is with the convictions. There's a lot of folks who don't think they have a conviction. We've had a lot of clients through the years who, on an intake form, when they were asked if they have any prior convictions, they said no. And then later, as we did a deeper dive into their case, we find out that, in fact, they had gone to court. They did some sort of a deferred action program, and the charge was dismissed. They said no on the intake form because, in their mind, they did not have a conviction. They're thinking, oh, well, yeah, I mean, yes, I went to court, I got charged, but that thing got dropped, so I'm fine. That can be a real problem because that still is going to be a conviction for immigration purposes. If a court found that their evidence was sufficient, if there was sufficient evidence that there would have been a conviction, but instead they did some sort of a program, a deferred action program, where you went to an anger management class or some sort of marital counseling or a drug counseling, those are the ones that we typically see, and then you went back and the case was dismissed, that is a conviction. So those folks usually are checking no when asked if they have a conviction. In fact, for immigration purposes, they do have a conviction.
Very big problem.
Then they ask somebody if it's safe to travel, and the person says, oh yeah, you don't have any convictions, you should be fine. Then they travel, then they can't get back into the United States. So that's obviously horrible, right? You don't want that to happen. So, we want to really be comprehensive. If one of our clients is asking us if they can travel, obviously, then we're going to be able to give them a much better answer because we know everything that we need to know to give them the best answer that we can. But if you're just asking here, it's really hard for us to know what your history is. Okay. Sorry, we really spend a lot of time on that, partly because we get a lot of travel questions. And like you said, they're really almost impossible to totally answer.
Okay. So Abdullah is saying that he's thanking us for coming online, and he says that he paid for a consultation but has not gotten his answer yet, and he's contacted us a few times and he has not gotten the answer. So first off, Mr. Safi, so sorry about that. We will absolutely look into that tomorrow after we get off of this live. Well, tomorrow, and follow up with you. Okay, so I apologize about that. We will absolutely take a look into what's put on there.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense to me, only because
things happen.
Yeah.
So we'll absolutely look into it, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention 100%.
Okay.
And
So Junior wants to know, I said, I received my oath ceremony form. Do I need to fill it out now or should I wait for the oath ceremony day?
So that is a oath, that form that you have to fill out there is meant to be filled out right before your oath ceremony, because what if you get a traffic ticket after you fill the form out, or what if you travel after you fill the form out? And so it's meant to be completed right before. But congratulations on swearing in to become a U.S. citizen. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is.
Clap for that.
That's really cool. And if you've never been to an oath ceremony, it's a really cool ceremony to go to. Radlin is a frequent speaker here in our area at the Norfolk Federal Courthouse, where they have our oath ceremony.
Okay, we've got another question here. Question
Okay.
from DK from YouTube.
And Lola said, thank you.
You are welcome.
All right.
So this is a really good question, and you have to proceed with caution here. So USCIS says they accept prepaid card as payment method on the website for security purpose. Can you use a prepaid gift/debit card to pay your USCIS application fee? No, don't do it. Don't do that. Please don't do that. A prepaid gift/debit card. Listen, DK or RK. Sometimes those things don't work at retail stores. Like sometimes they don't work at restaurants. Sometimes they don't work. No, just don't do that. Do not do that. We talked about the 1450 and the 1605. The G
1650.
Is it 1650?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We talked about those two. John opened up talking about them. And you have to be really careful, guys. When USCIS started accepting credit cards, our clients would complete the G1450 with their credit card information, okay? And sometimes that credit card would be declined for whatever reason. So some of the reasons were, number one, there were not enough funds. That was the most common reason. They don't tell you why it was declined, but that was the most common reason. Oh gosh, there were not enough funds in my credit card, or it was a debit card. You can use a debit card. Or one time, which is very strange, we filed a case, we used our client's credit card, the G1450, and they forgot that they had filed this application, and they actually reversed charges. So did a chargeback on their own. They did a chargeback on their own credit card. They're because they got the credit card. So they're like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. And so they did a chargeback. So you do not play with the fee. It's brand new if you're doing the either one of these things. Well, not the 1450, but if you're doing a ACH transfer, this is a brand new system. Thank goodness on the first several ones that we did, it went through. We're all waiting to see what would happen. And some of the practitioners and people who spoke about this, they said the system was going to have mistakes, maybe crash, whatever. Thankfully ours went through, but don't use a prepaid card.
I mean, we're using our own account, and we're obviously been in touch with our bank. So I'm sorry.
Right. Be in touch with your bank. If you're doing the ACH pull, hey, I want to make sure there's not a block on this. Is it an ACH block or a debit block? This is a charge that's going to come through. It's not typically, it's not like Chipotle, it's not DoorDash, it's not Walmart, it's not, Target.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If if it's a credit card you're using, you're going to want to make sure to contact your credit card company and make sure that they know it's coming, because you don't want to have one of these, the fraud alert. These are great. I mean, it's there to protect you. But if your credit card company thinks that this looks like something fraudulent because it's outside of your spending habits and it's not anything they recognize, and then they block it, and then they send you one of those emails or texts, and you don't see it for a while, and by the time you say, oh no, that's not fraud, that's me, it's okay. and it's too late because now your case has already been not processed and sent back. So yeah, I would be really, really careful. Make sure that you get all this, in line before you start and send it. We obviously did all those things, and so we were ready to go. Okay. So Ray 621 wants to know, can my husband, who's a green card holder, be worried, and maybe should my husband, who's a green card holder, be worried about going on a 1-month vacation to the Philippines? So
Ray, I don't know.
what
Should
are
he
the
be?
issues?
Should he be?
Hmm.
Should he be? Okay.
Yeah.
So why are you asking this question? Is there a reason, right? Is there a reason why you're asking whether your husband should be afraid of traveling as a lawful permanent resident? Customs and Border Protection.
When the video says I'm not hearing anything right now, it said you guys signal's bad, pause and no sound. All right. Could somebody on TikTok who post right now whether you can hear us? Okay, we just got a message that we may have some tech issues. If let us know, okay?
Let us know if you can hear us. But
Yeah.
we will answer the question quickly. We've answered this question a couple of times, every time, which we're happy to answer it because it's very important. And Ray, if you not hear anything,
but that's a little bit ago.
should we like pull it down?
That's the most recent one.
Okay, I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so the travel question is, you need to understand what your history is. Do you have any convictions? As John mentioned before, do you have any convictions for immigration purposes? Like you weren't convicted, but immigration might believe that this is still a conviction because it was a deferred finding. You pled guilty, you pled no contest or whatever, it was a deferred finding. And because you had to go do something like a domestic violence class, then it was dismissed 1 year later. That could be considered a conviction for immigration purposes. Have you stayed outside of the United States where immigration might think that you have abandoned your green card? You've stayed outside of the United States for more than 180 days, and certainly over a year could be an issue, right? Was there any type of fraud in getting your green card? Now, this one is a little bit, what can we say? We can say this is a dormant situation because if there was fraud that was committed in getting your green card, no one really knows about it, right? Like
no one's looking for it.
No one's looking for it.
It's kind of like,
With the other things, it's on your record. This one, nobody knows except you. So, am I trying to scare people who have committed fraud in getting their green card? I'm not trying to scare you. It's just a reality of, always the past can come back to haunt you. And sometimes that fraud might be, maybe it came up in some other things. Like maybe you applied for your spouse and this fraud came up in your case, in your spouse's case. And so you just dropped it. And so but it is out there, right? And there are marijuana possession convictions that are, I would say, pretty dangerous for lawful permanent residents to travel outside of the United States with a marijuana conviction, depending on the amount. But it's still, if you haven't gotten a waiver for it, it's still it can still be a problem. And then, crimes of moral turpitude, that's a very broad bunch of crimes, right? Crimes of moral turpitude, but they are sometimes pretty easy to get, like theft, shoplifting, embezzlement, check fraud. And so these are things that you have to be really, really careful about and ask these questions. So Ray is probably like, whoa, my husband didn't do any of that stuff. He has a parking ticket. There was no fraud in his green card. He doesn't smoke marijuana. He's never touched it. Totally clean, right? And yes, we have done a 12-point analysis of his immigration history, his history here in the United States, and there should be no, he should be fine. If he should be fine, then he should be fine. But you have to ask yourselves these questions. That's all we're asking you to do.
And I would ask you one more question to ask yourself: has he considered naturalizing?
Oh, that's a good one. See, when that question was first posed, that was the first question that I thought of.
Yeah,
but
but
then, as I got into the question, I forgot about the question. So yes, that's a really good point. Guys, go out and naturalize. If you are eligible to naturalize and become a US citizen, don't be afraid. I think a lot of you guys are probably nervous about applying for US citizenship. This is what we've heard. We don't want to do it because of this administration, da 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 da. The test just got harder. They just added 28 questions. It's only 28 questions. You got this. What else? There's the threat that the possibility that they might go and talk to my neighbors when I apply for US citizenship. Fine, let them talk to your neighbors. I mean,
Yeah.
if you are a person of good moral character, and even if you have things that you might think, gosh, I got a DUI 15 years ago, you may still be eligible for US citizenship. Don't be afraid, be informed, find out. And, things, some people are holding off. They say, oh, well, things are going to get better. Well, they might get worse. You don't really know. And the US citizenship is here. It's $710 for the government filing fee. There are 128 questions. That test just got harder. They just added 28 additional questions. What if they add 100 more additional questions? What if they raise the fee to $3,000 instead of $710? Who's to say? So we know what we have, and it's actually not that bad. So
That's
apply
silly.
for U.S. citizenship.
That'd be like H-1Bs being 100,000.
Yeah, that would be like if the government charged $100,000 for an H-1B if you're coming from outside the United States. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that would never
that would never
happen
That's
in a
crazy,
million years, in 100,000 years. Okay, we're obviously being sarcastic because
yeah, and
that has happened.
As we said, we're going to do the deep dive, and obviously, if it's going to be a bad move for you to naturalize, then we're going to tell you.
Yeah,
because I know that a lot of folks, don't want to naturalize, partly because they're just like, my life is pretty good. There's some things I worry about, but I don't want anybody. I don't need anybody like looking under the hood right now because the car's running fine, and if they look under the hood, who knows what they might find under there. And I just don't want to mess things up. This happens in all walks of life. I mean, we work with businesses who don't want to change the business entity because they're like, but I filed taxes under this other entity for all these years. And if I change it, what if that triggers an audit and everybody wants to start looking at my old stuff? And, I completely get it. But that's why you should talk to us, because if we look at your case and we're like, oh, yeah, actually, you know what? It is a bad idea for you to naturalize. That is going to raise a lot of questions that we don't want to be faced with right now. Then we'll just tell you that, and you just step away and don't do it. And we're only going to let you do it and have you do it if we know that it's going to be successful. And so you should call us, because becoming a U.S. citizen is the ultimate way. I mean, getting a green card takes a lot of stress out of your life. If you're going through an immigration process, you get that green card, boy, you feel good. You can rest a lot more easily at night. Becoming a U.S. citizen just takes that to a whole other level, where you really then don't have to worry about anything anymore. You can travel always without a concern about it. If you want to do recreational marijuana, have at it. Go to a state where it's legal, but my point is you won't have to worry about any of this anymore. So, that can really be the solution for a lot of folks. So call us and let us, look at your case and let you know, yes, you're a great candidate for citizenship. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right. I am concerned about what's happening here because
we don't have any more.
We don't have any more questions. The last few comments that we had were that our connection was unstable and people couldn't hear anything, which leads me to believe that there could be a problem because people are joining, but we're not getting any more questions. So this could be
the end of the line.
This could be an early night for us. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. We have to rest our voices anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Abdullah, I will send you an email, but I did send you an email on September 5th. I found it. And I did not get a response. September 5th, 2025 at 4:05 p.m. So I will re-forward that to you and apologize that you didn't get that for whatever reason.
Yeah, go double check your email and it should be there. September 5th.
If you're still here. Yeah. This is unfortunate about people not being able to hear us. How about if we shouldn't invite people to be a live guest unless they ask to be a live guest.
Does anybody want to be a live guest but they can't hear us? I don't know sign language.
So that they actually absolutely can't hear us. Is that right?
That's what I'm guessing.
Paused and no sound. Okay.
And we could invite
the dog bombs to join us.
Yeah, I don't think there's any sound because we're not getting any more questions. And that means that.
I don't know. I think it's because I have so many photos on my phone. But anyhow. All right, guys.
Sorry, gang. Well, that's
okay.
That's still 46 minutes.
Yeah, we don't have any other questions. And if it's all good for you guys, we are going to just say goodnight, drink some tea, and have a great rest of your week. We will be back. I believe we're going to be changing the day next week. It's going to be either Tuesday or Thursday. It's volleyball season, and we have some really amazing family members who are awesome at volleyball, and we have to go cheer them on and show our support because both of them are seniors in their high schools, and we want to make sure we see the last of their high school games. So it's either going to be probably Tuesday or Thursday that we will see you again if we're watching Davis's volleyball game.
All right, gang. So sorry about the tech issues. We will see what we can figure out and hopefully do better next time.
That's do better next time.
That's on us.
That's on us.
As our kids would say, we just didn't get it done.
We just couldn't get
it done. Couldn't get the tech done tonight. Okay, guys. We will see you in about a week.
This is our daughter's other song. We are opening and closing with our daughter's music. So Sammy Gardner on Spotify. Go check her out.
SAMI Gardner, Gardner. Okay, guys. Have a great night.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Bye-bye.